4 or 5 different stocks that you like, stuff that you probably use every day. If people know they can come to your OnlyFans and learn how to produce a track, they're gonna subscribe. Do this for years. This is long term.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's been a minute since I done talked to y'all about a situation. I was trying to wait and see if it was something I really wanted to talk about. And finally, I have something I want to talk about. The Alex Murdaugh, the ex-lawyer who was accused of killing his son and his wife. Now, this case is crazy because there's so many twists and turns. Of course, he says he was innocent, and they really didn't have much information. They didn't have much information, but the problem is he said he was never at the place where the murders happened before he realized that they was dead earlier that day. But when the son was recording, the family dog had done something, and the dad was in the background yelling at the dog, telling the dog to stop or whatever or something. So that right there, like, okay, he says he wasn't there, but this is proof on the son's cell phone that says he was definitely there. So now that started the web of why would he say he was not there if he was there. So at that point, he's a suspect. And not only that, all the activity on the phones from the mother and the son's phone had stopped 5 minutes after hearing that voice. I mean, when they went back and looked at it, seen the time step, and then 5 minutes after that, neither one of them were using their phone, no activities on their phone. So he was definitely there before they got murdered. Whether he did it or not, he was definitely there, right? So they had that information. They was going through all kinds of reasons why he might have did it, why he couldn't have did it, and 2 different guns were used, whatever. I think by him being a lawyer, he probably figured that he was smarter than the courts, or he would know what they would look for, so he did all kinds of little different stuff. So this guy was like, he didn't, like, it was so much history with him and his family. He had went and he had stole millions from his former clients. It was all kinds of stories where he would win lawsuits from people and then wouldn't give them their money or something. And the crazy thing about that is, in court, he admitted to some of this stuff. So we know he would defraud his clients. They had all kinds of tax evasion problems going on with him. He had been in kind of like, I ain't gonna say running the town for a while, but his daddy had a law firm. So the family would just go, get their law license and work for the law firm. So they had a lot of power or whatever. And I think he was used to that power, that he can basically do what he wanted to do and get away with it or whatever. Because there was too many stories of him taking money from people or whatever. They was trying to find out what would be the reasons. They was using pills, opioid pills. Like, I guess that was to say he wasn't in his right mind or whatever. Yeah, that's all, stuff that lawyers throw up to try to give a client a fair chance of beating the case or getting less time or whatever. And they was going over what the estates and stuff was worth, like money-wise. I mean, not to say he killed his family for money or whatever, but they said the wife estate was valued at $5 million. And his retirement fund was estimated at $2 million. And his father's will that's still in probate was valued at $1 million. Speaking of his father literally died 3 days after the murders. No one's saying that's suspicious or whatever, but like I think like 3 days after the murders, his dad died, which his dad was like had all kinds of stuff that they was curious about too that was surrounding him. One of the sons was like involved in some type of boat accident where a girl got killed or something like that, and the dad had kind of washed that up under there, like kind of like. It was just a lot of drama, a lot of things going on with their family. The son was involved in some type of death with some girl. The father, all kinds of money schemes and people saying that he took money from him and everything. And then his wife and son was killed, and he claims he wasn't there, but his voice is on the tape. Obviously, he was there. So at this point, he's the beneficiary of all this money. All this money. So they like, oh, maybe he killed him for the money, but they already had money. He was already scandaling, taking money from other people and everything. So not really sure about that. It was said that him and his wife was going through a patch. They wasn't even living in the same home. Maybe they was going through a divorce. He got into it with the wife. Things happened, and his son was there as a witness. Had to take the witness out of the situation. It's a lot of guessing and everything, right? So it's like everybody really, really don't know. Only thing we know is there was a double murder and you was there. We know you was there. The problem is he kept on saying he wasn't there. And then later on in the trial, when he just couldn't defend it no more, he said, yeah, I lied. I was there. Well, he ain't say he was there during the murder, but he said he was there earlier that day. And he just lied because he panicked or whatever. So, okay, yeah. At this point, it's too late because so much other lies and stuff that came out. And they was like, we can't trust this guy. He knew he was lying. Even if he was lying because he was under the influence, they talked to him multiple times when he wasn't on drugs. So at that point, they was like, nah, we can't say he was under the influence every time he lied. And they even had a story where he took money from a police officer that he represented, that it was injured on the job. The police officer got injured. He represented him, and he took the money from him. The police officer won, but didn't receive no money. This guy was bold enough to even take from law enforcement. I mean, I guess he had that much power or whatever. They say even before the court proceedings started, his father was so well known in the law that they had to take his father's plaque off the wall in the courthouse, not necessarily in the courtroom, but in the court building, because they didn't want that to influence people. Like, oh, he couldn't have did this. His daddy is this person. His daddy is that person. They had to take the plaques of his dad off of the courthouse because his dad was well known and well respected in the law enforcement community. So they had all this crazy power and all this money. So they have been clowning for years. But all through this, which is crazy, this made them open up another murder situation that was surrounding him, which is Gloria Satterfield, which she was a housekeeper that worked for them for over 20 years. Over 20 years. And she died. Don't want to say she got killed or whatever. One of the stories that I was reading was saying that the family dog jumped up on her and she fell down the steps, bumped her head and died. It sounds legit, so no one really questioned it, even though it was a lot of stuff surrounding them that kept happening. And it wasn't too suspicious, but it was like, we don't know. But they couldn't prove it because it sounds legit. The family dog jumped up on her, which it's kind of weird. She's been there 20 years or whatever. Maybe the family dog was happy to see her or whatever. Who knows or whatever. And I think it was at a funeral that he approached the Satterfield family, which is Gloria Satterfield, was the housekeeper, and told them they should sue for insurance money. And when I read that, I was like, sue for insurance? No, are they talking about suing him? But he wouldn't approach them, tell them to sue him. But it sounded like it. But from what I read, he convinced them to go after the insurance money. So it sounds like he represented them in suing the insurance company for the money. Maybe his insurance company or whatever, I don't know. But they won the case. They won the case for over $4 million. Now, what was weird about that is they won the case, but then on top of that, he never gave them none of the money. He kept the money. He told them they should sue, and when they won, he kept the money. So at this point, I guess he kept telling them, hey, it's tied up. I'm going to give it to y'all soon or whatever. But at the point, they was not getting the money. And the son, Brian Satterfield, he was living in a mobile home that was financed by the bank. And they was about to foreclose on his home. And they were saying that he literally knew about it. They was telling, hey man, I'm about to lose my home, or we going through it. Where's that money? Whatever. At this point, I think he had owed them like $3.5 million of the money or whatever. They said he didn't give them no money. He didn't give them nothing. He allowed that woman's son to get his home foreclosed on, and he owed them $3.5 million, which is crazy. And so I'm seeing, and I read in another part that he settled with them for $4.3 million. So that means they had to take him to court to get their money that they had already won. So he was representing clients, and then he was taking their money. He was doing all kinds of scams. So he was wrapped up in so much stuff that they said they got to go open up some more of the cases because it came up that he was fraud. He was even taking money from the law firm that he was working for. And they literally got to go back and open up cases that he didn't dealt with and stuff that people had complained about, because they didn't. I'm not saying that they didn't know that he was doing all this shady stuff. What I'm saying is I don't think that they took the other people's word. They figured he's in law enforcement and his family has this history of being lawyers and stuff. They took his word over theirs. And he's probably smart enough to say, well, this is what they signed. They gave it to me or whatever. But they opening back up that case with his housekeeper. They opening up some other cases that they looking at. But they said they want to wait until after this case. Excuse me. They want to wait until after this case is fully completed with his son and his wife, which they are Maggie and Paul Murdaugh, the ones that just settled. Now, he just lost. They gave him double murder. I said double murder. They gave him double life. He got 2 life sentences. He got a life sentence for each of them. So he's already lost. But they got to, figure out, make sure everything is done. The ink is dried, whatever. And then they finna open up these other cases. Fraud and everything, financial fraud or whatever. He didn't stole millions of dollars. When I say millions, it's like, it's a lot of money that he done took from even the law firm, or a lot of clients that he dealt with didn't give him their money after they won or whatever. And it's all coming to just all crumbling down at once. His mom, she's still alive. She got Alzheimer's disease. She was even part of the court case, saying that he went to see his mom, which the caretaker said that was unusual. He normally don't come over there at that time that he came over or whatever. And then he tried to convince her to lie about how long he was over there or whatever. It's like he knew the murder probably was already done or whatever. So, and she said that he was telling her, if it comes up, I was over here at this time and that or whatever. She said he stayed about 20 minutes and he got up out of there. So I'm thinking he killed the people, went visit his mom so he can use her as an alibi, and then he went back like he just found him and something like that. He probably changed or whatever. It was a lot going on with this guy, but the deal is him and his family been getting away with so much stuff over the years, whether it was like unsolved murders. His dad even had a situation where his dad ended up getting killed or suspiciously died when he was young. So this is like it's in the family. They've been doing stuff, getting away with it for years, and it finally just all came down on them. I have no idea still, even listening to all the court cases, like why would you kill your son and your wife? I understand they was going through a little separation or whatever. Maybe that would have blew up. It's like he knew that all fraud and stuff was going to come full force. So they don't even know what he was spending most of the money on. They try to say it was opioids, but ain't that much spending in the world. They millionaires or whatever. Ain't that much spending in the world. Like, unless he was doing some on-side hustling or whatever, putting money towards. I don't want to speculate, but it's so much going on with this. Yeah, they just finally gave him 2 life sentences, and now they about to go open up that glorious Satterfield. They gonna open that back up, which is crazy because that's a whole. Even though they already got money from it, because first he wouldn't give them no money. After they had won over $4 million, and they said that like 3.5 of it was theirs. So the other part was his cut. They end up having to take him to court, and then they got like 4.3 million. And now they finna open the case back up because even though he suggested you should take him to court, he may be the reason, or I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna prove that, but my God, it seems so suspicious now after all this stuff that came out. So I just wanted to talk about that. I don't, leave your comments or whatever, what you think or whatever. They was coming up with all kinds of motives or whatever that may have been for him killing them. I don't know what could be a motive when you that rich. Maybe he didn't want the wife to take the money because they was finna go, be in a divorce or whatever. But all the scams and stuff was gonna catch up with him anyway. Maybe his wife was gonna, air him out because she knew a lot of his secrets and everything. Maybe she's gonna air him out. And she was gonna take him to the cleaners. All right, y'all. I just wanted to talk about that. I know I went on talking about everything, but most of this stuff was in the court case and everything. A lot of this stuff I just researched and found myself. But leave your message in the comment. Let me know what you think about it, right? I eat knowledge for breakfast.